Hello. This video was actually, the painting part of this video was actually pretty nice. I'm really happy with the final result and everything. But just getting a chance to record the audio for this was so difficult. Like, things have been kind of shaky this week, in terms of just like a lot of things have been happening. And I wasn't even sure if I would be able to get this out in time. I don't even know, as I'm recording this right now, if I will be able to get this out in time, but I'm hoping I will. Like, at least on when it's still Monday for me. But this week I want to interview Sigrid about a bunch of stuff. I'd like to interview her about like just her whole existence, which hasn't been very long, like our relationship, I guess, as well. Just a couple of things here and there, and just see how it goes. I think this is going to be a short recording. I know we were trying to make it a longer one and we wanted to have a full discussion, but today's been a very tiring day and Athie and I are probably not going to be able to keep up being co-conscious long enough to have a conversation. Yeah, it's honestly been this situation the whole week where like we either can't find a window of opportunity to do the recording and like get it done and ready, or like, you know, just when we do get a chance, we're both too exhausted to do it. Like, just a lot has been happening in my life right now, and it's just between juggling that and everything else in the headspace, it's been really hard for me to like sit down and do this the way that I would have really liked for us to do this. Yeah, and right now we're gonna try our best to get some, you know, like conversation going, but there's a good chance we're both gonna get tongue-tied, we're gonna talk over each other, it's gonna be kind of complicated. Hopefully it'll make sense in the end. But it is gonna be quite hard to get this done. Yeah, I'm oh my god. Yeah, just if it makes sense in the end, I'll be happy. That's all I'm gonna say right now. But the thing I did want to talk about was, you are the result of integration between Dragon and Front. Both you and Gel are, but you've retained their memories. How do you feel about that? How do I feel about having the memories? Well, I don't really feel anything in particular about having the memories. I have them. It does feel a bit weird because I know that I wasn't the one who had those memories. But at the same time, I don't think it's had much influence on who I am or how I behave. If anything, maybe it made me more cautious in certain departments because I've seen the way both of them have treated you and how it's panned out over time. So I know that, oh, maybe this is not the best approach. But at the same time, I don't feel like I have the same like knee-jerk reactions they did to things. Maybe Dragon, some of them. I'm pretty sure that she and I have some things in common in that regard because we both are more, I would say, verbal with our issues. We don't really hold things in as much, but I don't feel like I have a lot in common with Front, but I do have, like, besides having our memories, I don't feel like I have much common ground with her. I think maybe similar fashion choices, but other than that, I don't see much common ground between me and her, right? But have you ever seen, like, when, like, you know, when you can go through their memories, have you ever felt like, you know, strange seeing their lives or like seeing the way they behaved, or like did you feel like you kind of understood where they were coming from because you could see their memories? In a way, yes and no. I never understood any of Front's actions. I have all of her memories and I still can't fully understand why she did some of the things she did. Because the fundamental difference between Front and all of us currently here in the Front, like currently in the Front with Athie, is the fact that we have the ability to empathize with other people. Front lacked that in every regard. For her, it was herself first and no one else, which in a weird way made sense for a time period in Athie's life where she was very self-sacrificing and it cost her too much to be that way, that it made sense that, you know, someone like Front began to exist, to sort of be the person who says no on Athie's behalf because Athie couldn't. But at some point you kind of realize that she doesn't understand how other people feel. The only thing that mattered to her was that she got her way in the end, and she didn't care at like what expense, and that ended up causing a lot of problems for Athie in the long run. In a lot of situations there have been a lot of messes that came from the fact that Front couldn't understand how other people felt, and it was quite troublesome to kind of see those memories and kind of know that she felt nothing while doing them, which was really strange. Dragon, on the other hand, was the exact opposite, like extremely emotionally volatile, just full force, just a complete, like almost like a natural disaster happening every second. Dragon was probably one of the most intimidating alters Aethes had. And just, I don't even know where to begin with Dragon. Dragon was the kind of person, well, person's not the right word. Dragon was a dragon at the end of the day. But a lot of the problems Dragon had with Aethe was that Dragon couldn't understand why Aethe wouldn't take action to change certain things in her life, or why she wouldn't stand up to the people that were making her sad. Dragon was basically this extremely frustrated alter that could not comprehend why Aethe was allowing people to walk all over her for like her entire life. And that led to her doing some awful things, honestly. She was a large part of the reason why Aethe was extremely upset as a child. Well, she was depressed, but also would almost push her to do more like harmful things towards herself. And it was because Dragon would think in the sense like, if you can't even stand up for yourself, why should you bother being here? Which is a terrible way to process anything. That's not how you should ever handle any situation. But a lot of Aethe's self-depreciating thoughts would come from Dragon, and she didn't know that for a long time. I actually had no idea. You're right, I had no idea Dragon was having such a big influence on the way I was thinking about myself. And it was really hard for me to handle, especially because that happened a lot more when I was a child than when I was older. And that's something I actually wanted to understand, was like why Dragon kind of eased up on me as I got older. Because again, Dragon was somebody who didn't understand why I wasn't doing the things that, she wanted me to do, which was like fight back or like say stuff back to the people that were hurting me. And I feel like she failed to understand that I was a child. Like, she wasn't getting what a kid was. I would agree with that. I don't think she genuinely understood what a child was until certain events took place. So there's an altar that split off from Dragon, and that altar was a little. And after that altar split off and spent a lot of time with Dragon, that's when Dragon came to understand what a child was. And Dragon then understood why Aethe couldn't do a lot of the things that she wanted her to do at that time. And as a result, Dragon kind of eased up and, kind of receded further back into the headspace and just stayed away from Aethe, which again, not the best way to deal with things. I know why she did that, but it's so strange. Wait, why did she do that? Why did she go? I actually never understood why she just kind of disappeared and went back to the headspace. In a sense, she felt shame that she put a child through that, because she didn't understand that before that. And I guess she just didn't have it in her to talk to you about it, which is even weirder. But I think that's also part of the reason why she agreed to integrate with Front, because she kind of wanted to not be as volatile as she was. And I think she was hoping something good would come out of integrating with someone as unstable as Front. I don't know why she would have thought that. Like, if in my head, if I thought, oh, I'm kind of not healthy, maybe integrating with somebody who's also not healthy, would be a bad idea. But I'm lucky it worked out, and I'm glad that it worked out. And I think, Dragon and Front are also both fortunate that it worked out in a way that's good for everybody. But what if it hadn't? Like, you can't guarantee how things are going to work out with integration. We never know what's going to happen. You're right. We don't know what's going to happen. And when people choose to integrate, it doesn't necessarily mean everything's going to be hunky-dory and everything's going to be great and everything will work out in some magical way. But you hope they do. And again, I don't think anyone expected the integration of two altars to lead to the production of two more altars. Like, I don't think anyone thought that. But they were both so unstable that in a weird way they split into two more stable altars, which would be me and Jel. And I don't know how comfortable I feel saying I'm a more stable version of Dragon or anything, because I don't see myself as a version of her, or Front for that matter. I'm my own individual, but at the same time, it's just, it's one of those things where I can't deny my roots in a way. Yeah, I can see that. I feel like I think a better way of explaining it would be that the kind of, influence Dragon and Front had on you and Jel would be more like the kind of influence parents have on their kids when they're growing up. Like, the way their personality molds is by mimicking, the adults around them. And, well, not mimicking, but like, learning from the adults around them. So I feel like, you and Jel are both kind of like, just not results, but like influenced by the people that made you. That's basically how parents work, right? That, in a weird way, yes, that's exactly that's a pretty decent way of explaining it. It's just the kind of like parental influence that we had. And it's not bad. And it's not good either, I guess, because I think we had that with Gel as well recently, where some unhealthy habits that Front had kind of seeped into her behavior, and it caused quite a ruckus in the headspace. Fortunately, because Aethes experienced Front's behavior before, she caught it early, but if she hadn't, or, for some reason she missed the signs, we may have been in a stickier situation than we are. And now, we're working with Gel because Gel has the capacity to understand and reflect and, talk about her feelings and work through things, which was something that Front was lacking. But, it's one of those things, again, where you don't know what's going to happen when people integrate. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to stick, what's going to go. And although, Gel doesn't have any of, most of Front's memories, she remembers people Front has met, which is very strange because I don't know how that happened, but she seems to have a memory for certain like random events, which, aren't like missing from my memory or anything, but I'm surprised she has them. Yeah, I agree, because there'll be times where Gel will say things or like imply things, and when we ask her further about what she just said, she'll actually have like something to back it up that happened previously that no one knew she remembered, which was, really strange for all of us. Like, we were not expecting that, because when we first spoke to Gel about the things that had happened or like where she came from and things like that, we would ask her like, do you know who these people are? Do you know who Front is? Do you know who Dragon is? Do you have any memory of them? She just was like, no, I don't actually have any idea who they are. But it's quite interesting to see how integration can be so different between, like versus what happened for Dragon and Front, and like compared to what happened between like Damien and Rose, which were, both very different scenarios altogether. Right, because Damien and Rose at some point also knew each other, which I think makes it different. Front and Dragon did not know each other when they decided to integrate, which was very strange. Dragon existed much longer than Front did, but that was also another thing. So Dragon was in a part of the headspace that no one knew they were in. Like, even I, despite having Dragon's memories, I don't know the exact place that Dragon was in, and I don't know how Front found them, which is both things that have eluded me. But knowing Gel, she somehow does know both those things, because Gel is able to navigate the headspace like nobody else ever has. She gets in and out from everywhere, just disappears for days on end, and then just comes back with like random new information from somewhere, and we're just like, where were you? Where did you go? What happened? That is true. Gel just knows like parts of the headspace that most of us don't know, and it's really crazy. And I think it's because even though she didn't retain Front's actual memories of like her interactions, she retained like Front's maybe mental map. I don't really know how else to say it, like just like a map of the headspace. Which is crazy when you think about it, but like that's amazing, and also kind of like cool to think about, because there was a period that like Judge and Rose and like Judge, Core, and Front went back, and if you don't know who they are, I would recommend watching the video with Najum, because I'm pretty sure I explained them there. But when they all receded into the headspace for that time, I wouldn't be surprised if Front just spent that entire time exploring the headspace because she had nothing else to do. That's exactly what she did. She basically spent her time exploring the headspace. And I know that she's met alters and explored places and been to different places, but I don't even know where they are in relation to each other. Like, there's breaks in the memories. So I know the people she's met, and I will have memories of the people she's met, but I won't know how she got there or how she met them or any of that. Like, it's so interesting what you can gain and what you can lose during integration. And it's just something that happens a lot when you have, well, not a lot, but it can happen when you have DID, and it's just something that becomes kind of part of your normal when you have it. I would agree with that. It is definitely something that becomes part of your normal. And I think also something I want to discuss with you, I don't know if, well, I guess you can actually talk about this. So people sometimes, when, alters integrate, they experience that feeling of loss, like somebody they knew is now gone. And they process it, like, going through the 5 stages of grief of like experiencing loss and stuff. How did you feel when, Rose integrated with Damien? So, how did I feel? I did feel kind of sad. I felt like I was losing my little sister. But at the same time, I didn't feel like it was a loss. Like, it just felt like, because Rose changed a lot in that couple of months before the integration. I felt like I already didn't know her as much as I used to at that point. So when she integrated, it wasn't that big of like, I don't know her anymore, because I already felt like, I have to learn about her now. And, after she integrated, I just went, now I really have to learn a lot more about her, because she's more than, she's got somebody else's memories with her. And if anything, it made me empathize with her a lot, because I understand what it feels like to be somebody who carries the memories of more than one person, and to be kind of like the result of two people. If anything, I think Najum and I are closer than Rose and I could ever be, because we understand what it feels like to be someone who carries those memories, and to like run into people who you have memories of but have never actually spoken to as your current self. But I don't think I felt a huge sense of loss. If anything, I thought you would have felt it, because you knew Rose much longer than anyone else. But, even then, you didn't feel it as much, did you? Well, no, that's the thing. I think it's because, like, I've experienced, like, a major loss in my life at a young age, that I've come to accept loss more quickly than most people. But also, it didn't feel like I was losing her, because I felt like, okay, she won't be there the way she used to be, but she's still here, if that makes sense. Like, she's still in front of me, technically, in the headspace. Okay, she's not Rose anymore. She's Najum, but she's still here. Like, I didn't lose somebody, if that makes sense, right? So, for me, it was kind of like, yeah, okay, she's not my little sister anymore, but, it's not like she's gone forever either. Like, she's just somebody new, and I'm okay with that. And so, yeah, you're right, I didn't experience loss that way, because I feel like losing somebody, to me, is like never, ever being able to see them again or talk to them again about things you used to know. Nujum has all of Rose's memories. I don't feel like I've lost anyone, because I can talk to her about anything, and she remembers the same stuff Rose did. And it's easy to have conversation regardless. I don't feel like things are missing, if that makes sense. Like, I don't feel like, the things I used to do with Rose, I can't do with Najum. I can totally do it with Najum. There's nothing wrong with that, because she's still here. But yeah, like, and most of her reactions are pretty much the same. I feel like there's not as much of a difference between her and Rose as I thought there might be. But yeah, you're right. I definitely didn't experience a loss, if that makes sense. No, I feel that. I feel like that happened with everyone in, the headspace who knew Rose. They didn't feel like they really lost her, because, she's still here. And I think that's the difference for us compared to some people. I think that it depends on how much someone changes during the integration. If they lose all the memories of who they used to be, it can be quite hard. Or especially if you're dealing with littles who are very attached to, one of the alters, which happened with Damien. Damien was, he took care of a lot of littles, but when the littles that, Damien looked after met Najum, they felt strange, because they obviously knew this wasn't Damien. But when Najum was able to, talk about the memories Damien had with them, they felt so much happier, because they felt, okay, sure, Damien doesn't look the same anymore, but technically Damien isn't gone either, which I think was a lot easier for them to process, being, younger and all that. Yeah, I would agree. I feel like, especially as being younger, you process loss differently. But I think fortunately, because Najum had all those memories, it didn't feel like a heavy loss. It just made them feel like, Damien just looks different now. But yeah, a lot of things have been changing in our headspace lately. We might end up doing a video on that. I don't know if I want to. I don't know how I feel about it. I definitely don't want to talk about the littles. That's something that'll never be a topic on this channel. They're not somebody I want to bring into this. Like, they're too young. They don't understand. I'm not going to bring them into, I'm not going to expose them to the outside world like that. But the adults in the system, for sure. I'm still in the process of meeting a lot of my alters. But, with a lot of recent developments, a lot of things have been going on. I feel like, things are changing a lot in the headspace. I would agree with that. been going through it for the last couple of months. This year has been quite eye-opening in many regards. But I think it's been a good thing. I think it's been quite healthy for all of us. And I think we're kind of expanding how we view each other, how we view other people in the system, how to be a better system as a whole, how to work together, how to become more functional as, a collective rather than, just individuals or trying to... Oh, that's another thing. We don't really believe in fully integrating into one identity. I remember Athie had a psychiatrist that told her that was the goal, and Athie didn't even feel comfortable doing that. I still don't. That's not an aim for me. I don't want to, all of us integrate into one person. I'm not comfortable with that. And I don't want the others to feel like they have to. I feel like if we can function together as a collective, then that's fine. And for others who don't know, there's actually a term for that. It's called functional multiplicity. That's probably closer to what we want to be. But yeah, I think, oh my god, I can't believe we managed 20 minutes of talking. I'm quite surprised too. I think that once we got into it, it was a lot easier, but the exhaustion's like fully hitting us now. Yeah, we're getting really tired. But yeah, I think that, that's all I really have thoughts on right now. We might do another video next week on, maybe it'll be me, maybe it'll be someone else. Who knows? It's a surprise. Yeah, it's a surprise. Let's do that. I might actually get a cartoon to sit down for next week. That would be quite nice. I think you can get a little insight from her. She's very wise. She genuinely is. But yeah, that's it for this week. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. And I hope everyone's staying safe, staying at home, taking care of themselves. Yes, we're still in the middle of a terrible situation. Everyone should look after themselves and look after the people around them. So everyone take care, and we'll see you all next week. Bye bye.